Is El Salvador on the verge of failing after Bitcoin adoption? What are the possible reasons behind the poor state of the global financial markets? And most importantly, where is Bitcoin headed next? Let's hear it from Max Keiser and Stacy Herbert. Hello and welcome to Wealthy Value. In today's video, popular Bitcoin maximalists and longtime proponents of the cryptocurrency, Max Keiser and Stacy Herbert, address the issues faced by the global economy, why Bitcoin is the only savior of the financial system, and their thoughts on Morgan Stanley encouraging its investors to buy Bitcoin. They also update about how JP Morgan and others are manipulating the precious metal space. Make sure to stick around till the end of this video where Max Keiser reveals why the Bitcoin haters are missing a huge bet. Before we start, make sure to secure your crypto trading from hackers and malwares by using a VPN. A VPN, or virtual private network, allows you to browse safely and anonymously by encrypting your internet traffic and defending you against online snooping, hackers, and governments. We recommend our friends at AtlasVPN, who are offering our viewers an exclusive 82% discount via the link in the description. A VPN is an essential tool for a crypto trader. Without a VPN, your original IP address is traceable and can reveal your city, zip, and area codes. AtlasVPN protects your privacy by hiding your real IP address, so the crypto websites you visit and your activities there can't be traced back to you. It can also help you overcome geoblocks and access crypto websites otherwise unavailable to users in your region. Click the link in the description to secure an 82% discount for a limited time.
I've never seen the word autarky in a financial report, and you're right. When you first see it, you're like, well, that's a positive thing because they're insulating themselves from the vagaries of these outside markets that seem like they're in chaos. And they have Bitcoin, and they're growing their own GDP organically. They've got the tourism, they've got the forward investment coming in, they've got the infrastructure build out, and they really are. It really is an autarky, but that's in this context, that's not a negative. And I think that's where investors potentially are seeing this. You know what? This is a non-correlated asset, to put it in pure financial terms. When you're investing today in a world dominated by these global central banks who are all in the same trade, they're all on the same side of the same trade, and that is easy money. El Salvador is going against the trend and saying, you know, we can grow organically our own economy. Bitcoin is at the center of it, and we're not exposed to that risk. So if you're trying to get an uncorrelated trade and get pure alpha, pure return, El Salvador is probably the best, most underrated play in the globe today. Well, this is an amazing story, you know, and it reminds me when you told me about this Jimmy Song boot camp for developers, Bitcoin developers, and I asked you how many, and you said 7. I immediately thought of those Mercury astronauts. I think there might have been 7 of them, and they were called the Mercury 7. And that was the beginning of the astronaut role in the United States, in the beginning of the Apollo space program. And one very visionary president, John F. Kennedy, set the motion, set the tone by saying we will land a man on the moon by the end of the decade. I feel President Bukele, similarly, the JFK meets Steve Jobs of presidents, has made a goal for this country to be absolutely the leader in Bitcoin globally and to make Bitcoin the global standard. And those 7 developers are the beginning. They're going to take this country to the Bitcoin moon.
We have the 7 programmers here, the 7 Salvadoran programmers, the 7 Salvadoran Satoshi geniuses, right? So we also have the securities laws coming in, the new Bitcoin securities laws. And this is the stack that Satoshi built for El Salvador, right? This is the stack that is built upon the 7, that is built upon the Bitcoin law, is built upon these new securities laws, is built upon the vision that President Bukele has for this nation in terms of where we can go, how to leapfrog ahead of even what Singapore built into the future upon these laws and upon these sort of programmers, because 7 then becomes 17, becomes 70. I'm sure the math doesn't add up, I'm not doing the math correctly in terms of goes 7, 17, 70, but I wanted to start with S.
No, it's Stacy math, which is kind of not Euclidean geometry. It's not algebra. It's a special mathematical formula that's built on the root of 7 and then goes in a direction that many would say is improbable. Markets can remain irrational longer than you have funds. And so having a bias in a market setting can be death to a portfolio performance. And to your point, it's an autarky not by the suggestion of those running the country. The country, as you point out, is opening to the world and saying, come on in and invest. And they're getting a lot of investment from around the world, but it's the perception from people who have that bias. And that's why they're missing the bet. They can't even describe it accurately in a financial paper. And that's where the smart money sees, you know what, there's an arbitrage here between the perception and what's really on the ground. And obviously Salvadorans who are in the money market business, as we've just mentioned, they are salivating at this opportunity, and money's being raised in the billions.
President, everybody in this country wants more investment in the country. People are investing in this country. He's inviting people into this country. That's what he said in the State of the Union. He wants people to come to this country. That's the opposite of autarky. He doesn't want, he's not closing it off. So they're wrong. Well, Morgan Stanley is telling their clients they're wrong to bet on that. That's not the outcome. But of course, what they're doing is they're reading the wrong newspapers or tuning into the wrong shows on YouTube. They should be tuning into this sort of program rather than Bloomberg, rather than Wall Street Journal. As I said earlier, they have spoken to me but failed to quote me, even though I told them months ago, people could have got in at 25 cents or under 25 cents and said they're going to have to get in at 45, 55, 65 cents instead when these bond payments are made. And there was a recent report out in the past week or so from one of these financial newspapers, and they said that the number one risk of default in the whole entire world is El Salvador. But what this guy from Morgan Stanley says is the Tuesday note assessed that El Salvador shouldn't have any problem repaying debts for the next 12 months because of the primary surplus. They said that Morgan Stanley is encouraging their clients to buy these El Salvador bonds because they're trading at 25 cents when they said even if they do default, they should be trading at 43 cents, not 25 cents. But they reckon they're not going to default because they have the money to pay the payment due in January.
We've been saying for years now, reporting on JP Morgan spoofing or manipulating the precious metals markets, and they deny it. But now the proof is coming out. And this is what America is all about. Manipulating the markets, playing video games, getting finger, burns and calluses on their finger by manipulating the markets. And that's why that economy is going into the toilet, because they've got nobody doing anything productive in that frickin' wasteland between Canada and Mexico called America. It's a complete dump. Whereas down here in Central America, people are saying, you know what, we've been down, now we're going to be up, and we're productive, and that's a total different story.
But let's wrap this up with what I have to say here in terms of that, because what they're doing with a spoofing is it's a form of propaganda, it's price propaganda. They're manipulating the perception within the market of what was actually happening, so that JP Morgan, and of course before that Bear Stearns, because remember Bear Stearns inherited a huge precious metals position from Bear Stearns when they were gifted that during the financial crisis in early 2009. Or 2008, they in fact inherited it. That's price propaganda through spoofing. And the same thing happens with, on a huge scale, geopolitically, geoeconomically, culturally. The bias that I'm saying is they fat finger, all sorts of fake news about how El Salvador is failing, and it's totally fake. And they're spoofing the other participants, as the first headline proved, that Morgan Stanley is telling you, hey dudes, clients, you're being spoofed, essentially. There is no there to that story. They're not going to not make the payment. They are going to make the payment, and you're being spoofed and tricked and deceived into selling your bonds when you should be buying them.
So do you think El Salvador is failing, or is it just a propaganda? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.